Nothing beats the thrill of a truly iconic movie or TV car. These four-wheeled stars have captured our imaginations, fueled our dreams, and maybe even convinced us to drive a little faster than we should. In this video, we'll be taking a trip down memory lane with 10 iconic cars from movies and TV shows that will bring back amazing memories. Coming in hot at number 10 is the KITT Pontiac Trans Am in Knight Rider. If you grew up in the 80s or were a fan of reruns, chances are you've had dreams of cruising down the highway with KITT, the smooth-talking, artificially intelligent Pontiac Trans Am from Knight Rider. This car wasn't just a vehicle, it was practically a co-star. With that futuristic red LED scanner light on the front, KITT was like a high-tech Swiss Army knife on wheels. From turbo boost to being able to drive itself, KITT had it all. KITT wasn't just another car, it was ahead of its time in terms of what it could do. This wasn't just about a fancy supercar with cool gadgets. KITT essentially predicted features that are now becoming reality. Take autonomous driving, for instance. Long before Tesla or any other car manufacturer introduced self-driving technology, KITT was cruising down highways without a human at the wheel. Another fascinating fact about KITT is its real-life impact. Car lovers and fans of the show have gone to great lengths to create replicas of the famous Pontiac Trans Am, complete with the talking interface and custom LED lights. Even decades after the show ended, KITT remains a symbol of what people imagine the future of driving could look like: intelligent, stylish, and surprisingly human. Not only could KITT take over driving duties, but it also had a sarcastic personality to match. Who could forget the witty banter between the car and Michael Knight, played by David Hasselhoff? KITT's voice by William Daniels was so iconic that you might still imagine your GPS giving you directions in that same calm, commanding tone. And while KITT's futuristic capabilities seemed way ahead of their time, you can't help but wonder what would happen if you gave KITT a software update today. Coming up next is an iconic car famous for its insane jumps, crazy paint job, and horn that'll make you smile. Number 9, General Lee, a 1969 Dodge Charger in the Dukes of Hazzard. This car was the star of every high-flying, dirt road jumping, county sheriff duping scene in the series. With its bright orange paint job and the Confederate flag emblazoned on its roof, General Lee was as much of a rebel as the Duke boys themselves. Now let's be real, that yee-haw horn sound, iconic. The General Lee wasn't just a car for the Duke boys, it became a cultural icon. Its signature horn and jump stunts made it unforgettable. But behind the scenes, the car was undergoing some serious damage. In fact, it's estimated that more than 300 Dodge Chargers were used during the series filming because the jumps often resulted in massive damage, making it impossible to reuse the same car. The Duke boys, Bo and Luke, didn't need roads. They preferred taking their Dodge Charger airborne. Flying over creeks and ditches like gravity was just a suggestion. General Lee could get out of any sticky situation, even if that meant jumping over a barn and probably a cow or two. With doors that were welded shut, you had to climb in through the windows. For many of us, the General Lee wasn't just a car, it was a childhood dream. Admit it, at some point, you tried to dive through the window of your parents' car, only to end up with a few bruises and a new respect for Bo and Luke. Now, if only cars could survive all those jumps these days, those Duke boys sure knew how to push their ride to the limit. But speaking of pushing limits, our next car has rockets, guns, and a look so sleek that even today's action heroes would envy it. Up next at number 8 is a true superhero among cars, Black Beauty, the crime-fighting ride from the Green Hornet. This 1966 Chrysler Imperial wasn't just any luxury sedan. It was a mobile fortress on wheels, packed with more gadgets than a Swiss spy. Forget about James Bond's cars for a second, we'll get to that. This car could blow the bad guys away with its rocket launchers and machine guns. Green Hornet, along with his trusty sidekick Kato, played by none other than Bruce Lee in the original series, used this sleek Black Beauty to outsmart and outshoot the criminals. One of the most notable aspects of Black Beauty's legacy is how it continued to evolve. In the 2011 Green Hornet reboot starring Seth Rogen, Black Beauty received a 21st century makeover. The car's classic look was maintained, but it was updated with even more advanced technology and weaponry. Despite the mixed reviews of the movie itself, Black Beauty remained one of the standout features, bringing back a sense of nostalgia for fans of the original 60s series. The original Black Beauty, with its sophisticated all-black exterior and hidden gadgets, has become a fan favorite for those who love high-tech vehicles with classic charm. Unlike most cars on this list, which were muscle cars or race cars, Black Beauty stood out for being a luxury sedan that was transformed into an armored, crime-fighting machine. The Black Beauty had bulletproof windows, rocket launchers behind the headlights, and even ejector seats to deal with annoying passengers. With all that firepower and style, it's no wonder criminals ran the other way when they heard it roaring down the street. The car's menacing black look, combined with its all-business attitude, made it a star in its own right. It didn't just transport the Green Hornet, it became his armored sidekick. If you could pick any vehicle to protect you in a showdown with the bad guys, this baby would probably top your list. While our next vehicle is a van, it's not just any van. At number 7 is the A-Team van. I love it when a plan comes together, especially when it involves the iconic black and red 1983 GMC Vandura from the A-Team. The van, with its bold red stripe and spoiler, was more than just transportation for the A-Team. It was practically a character on its own. If you were a child of the 80s or 90s, you probably remember daydreaming about riding shotgun while B.A. Baracus, Mr. T, complained in the driver's seat. The A-Team van wasn't just cool looking, it was extremely effective. Whether the team needed to speed through an epic car chase, evade the military police, or simply outsmart the bad guys, the Vandura was there to save the day. What's even better, it was indestructible. You could shoot at it, crash it, or even flip it over. It didn't matter. The A-Team would still drive away unharmed. This van could transport an entire team of heavily armed soldiers of fortune, plus whatever DIY explosives they whipped up that week. Our next car is an absolute darling. With a mind of its own and the heart of a racer, it's the cutest vehicle ever to leave skid marks on your heart. Number 6 is Herby from the Love Bug. Who knew a little 1963 Volkswagen Beetle could steal the spotlight from its human co-stars? But Herby, the lovable car from the Love Bug, wasn't just any ordinary Beetle. This car had personality and plenty of it. With a racing stripe and the number 53 proudly displayed on its hood, Herby proved that size doesn't matter when it comes to speed and heart. Herby had the ability to think, feel, and even love. It could drive itself, and more often than not, it seemed to have a knack for getting into and out of trouble. Whether it was racing to victory or falling in love with another car, yes, that happened. Herby was the little Beetle that could. But don't let Herby's adorable exterior fool you. Herby didn't just race on the screen in the original Love Bug. He kept going for decades. The popularity of the Volkswagen Beetle skyrocketed after Herby's debut, cementing its status as one of the most iconic small cars in the world. The car was so popular that Herby returned in several sequels, including Herby Rides Again, Herby Goes to Monte Carlo, and even a 2005 reboot, Herby Fully Loaded, starring Lindsay Lohan. Throughout the years, Herby has captured the hearts of both children and adults, representing the idea that even the smallest underdog can triumph. In an age of bigger, faster, and more aggressive vehicles, Herby stood out as a reminder that personality and heart can make a car truly legendary. Underneath that cute hood was a car that could keep up with the best of them. It wasn't afraid to take on bigger, meaner cars, and it always found a way to come out on top. Herby is the car that made you believe in magic, or at least made you wish your car had a little more personality. But when it comes to personality, our next entry is a full-throttle muscle machine that will leave you gripping the edge of your seat. Coming up at number 5 is the wild stallion of car chases, Elanor from Gone in 60 Seconds. This stunning 1967 Shelby Mustang GT 500 from Gone in 60 Seconds was nothing short of astonishing. Elanor wasn't just any car. She was the crown jewel in a long list of stolen vehicles. But this Mustang was more than just a car to its driver, Memphis Raines, played by Nicolas Cage. Elanor was the one that got away, the unicorn of all heists, the car that always eluded him until that one fateful ride. The 1967 Shelby Mustang GT 500 had sleek lines, a roaring engine, and enough power under the hood to make even the most seasoned car thief nervous. Elanor wasn't just a car in Gone in 60 Seconds. She became a cultural phenomenon. The Shelby Mustang GT 500 has since become one of the most sought-after cars for collectors and car lovers. Thanks to the movie, Elanor's value skyrocketed, and enthusiasts began building custom replicas to match the iconic car down to the smallest detail. The original car chase scene in Gone in 60 Seconds is still considered one of the best in movie history. It wasn't just about speed, it was the high-stakes drama combined with incredible stunt work that made Elanor so unforgettable. In fact, many car chases that have come after have tried to replicate the tension and excitement of that scene, but often fall short. Elanor's legacy lives on in car culture, with fans dreaming of getting behind the wheel of a car that made such an impact on the silver screen. The final car chase scene, where Memphis takes Elanor through a series of daring stunts and high-speed maneuvers, is pure cinema magic. If you've ever felt your heart race just watching a car chase, you can thank Elanor for that. In the movie, it became obvious that Elanor wasn't just any car. With its silver paint job, black racing stripes, and unrelenting engine, Elanor cemented her place in the pantheon of iconic movie cars. Let's face it, who hasn't dreamed of taking this beauty for a spin? Anime fans are in for a treat with our next entry. Our next car comes straight from the anime world, with gadgets and weapons that'll make your head spin. At number 4 is none other than Mach 5 from Speed Racer. If you were a fan of Saturday morning cartoons in the 60s or caught reruns later on, then you know this car wasn't just fast. It was a futuristic wonder packed with gadgets that would make even James Bond jump with delight. The Mach 5 wasn't just about speed, although it had plenty of that. It could zip around racetracks like a jet on wheels. The Mach 5 was truly exceptional. Its gadgets were ahead of their time, long before movies like Fast and Furious popularized gadget-filled racing cars. It had cutting-edge features like auto jacks that could lift the car during a race, and even a homing robot that could scout out the track ahead. In addition to its high-tech capabilities, the Mach 5's sleek, sophisticated design made it an icon in the world of animation. Even though Speed Racer was a cartoon, the Mach 5 felt like it could exist in real life, inspiring fans to build their versions of the car. It continues to hold a place in the hearts of car lovers. But what really made it stand out were its unique features. The Mach 5 boasted specialized buttons, each with its crazy function. Button A would give you the typical speed boost, but hit button B, and those tires would transform into saw blades, slicing through obstacles like they were butter. Button C, sprout out some wings, and you're flying over the competition. With 7 buttons in total, the Mach 5 was more of a Swiss Army car than just a race car. And let's not forget the iconic design. The Mach 5 had a sleek white body with red detailing, including the bold number 5 emblazoned on its doors and hood. It looked sophisticated even by today's standards, almost like a Formula One car from another dimension. With Speed Racer behind the wheel and his trusty mechanic, Pops Racer, working in the pit, the Mach 5 always seemed to pull off impossible wins. Let's face it, no matter how fancy modern race cars get, none will ever have the heart or the gadgetry of the Mach 5. While Mach 5 is incredible at racing, our next car isn't here to race. Coming up next is one car you probably wouldn't want parked in your driveway. At number 3, we have Christine, the 1958 Plymouth Fury. Christine was the terrifying 1958 Plymouth Fury from Stephen King's Christine. This car isn't just impressive, it's unforgettable in the most chilling way possible. Christine wasn't just a car, she was alive and she was always angry. At first glance, Christine looks like a beautiful, classic red Plymouth Fury, complete with white detailing that would make any car lover drool. But as soon as you get close, you'll realize there's something sinister under the hood. Christine is evil, possessed even, and she's not afraid to show it. The car has a mind of its own and an appetite for revenge, targeting anyone who crosses her path. If you thought a road-raging driver was bad, imagine a car that could hunt you down all by itself. Christine is one of the few cars that was the outright villain of a movie. Christine's transformation from a beautiful vintage car into a vehicle of death added a level of horror that is still remembered today. What makes Christine even more scary is how she represents obsession. As the car's owner, Arnie becomes more obsessed with the car, Christine's control over him grows. This subtle psychological element, combined with her ability to repair herself after damage, makes Christine one of the most terrifying vehicles in movie history. Throughout the movie, Christine's ability to heal herself after damage adds an even more terrifying layer to her menace. Smash her up, and she'll slowly bend, twist, and reform her chassis like some kind of mechanical phoenix rising from the ashes. As the car's owner, Arnie, becomes more obsessed with his killer ride, Christine's evil influence grows, leaving a trail of destruction in her wake. Sure, most of us dream about our cars being reliable, but not quite like this. Christine reminds us that not all classic cars are good investments, especially ones with a grudge. Speaking of destruction, our next car isn't just famous for wrecking stuff. It was built for a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Let's hit the dusty road with a legendary ride from a world gone mad. At number 2 is the Interceptor, a 1973 Ford Falcon XB-GT in Mad Max. The Interceptor, also known as the Pursuit Special, is the legendary 1973 Ford Falcon XB-GT from the Mad Max series. If there's one car that genuinely embodies survival in a post-apocalyptic world, it's this beast. Whether you're dodging marauding biker gangs or racing across endless desert landscapes, the Interceptor was the perfect ride for the end of civilization as we know it. In the original Mad Max, the Interceptor starts out as a sleek police vehicle, but it evolves into something far more brutal and rugged in the latest films. The car becomes a symbol of Mad Max's transformation from a lawman to a lone wanderer. Its aggressive matte black look, supercharged engine, and stripped-down, no-nonsense style make it more than just a car. It becomes an extension of Max himself. What made the Interceptor so iconic wasn't just its performance, it was the way it fit perfectly into the gritty, dystopian world of the Mad Max series. This was a car built to endure. It wasn't shiny, it wasn't pretty, but it could take a beating and keep going. The supercharger that poked out of the hood was practically a character itself, letting you know that this car meant business. But like many things in the Mad Max universe, the Interceptor's time on the road was filled with danger. The car gets smashed, rebuilt, and smashed again, symbolizing the relentless cycle of violence in the wasteland. Now that we've covered the wastelands, let's take a detour to something a bit more refined. Our final car is the epitome of elegance, sophistication, and, of course, gadgetry. This last entry is the smoothest spy car ever to hit the silver screen. Number 1 is none other than James Bond's Aston Martin DB5 in the Goldfinger. If there's one car that defines cool, it's this silver beauty. The DB5 isn't just a car, it's a statement. It's suave, it's sleek, and it has gadgets hidden in places you didn't even know you needed. Debuting in the 1964 film Goldfinger, the DB5 quickly became a symbol of the world's most famous spy, James Bond, portrayed by Sean Connery at the time. Bond didn't just drive the DB5, he relied on it to save his life. And let's not forget the gadgets. Sure, the DB5 had a powerful engine and sleek design, but what made it genuinely impressive were the hidden extras. It came fully loaded with machine guns behind the headlights, an ejector seat for unwanted passengers, rotating license plates for the ultimate in spy anonymity, and even tire slashers to take out pursuing cars. It's no wonder the DB5 kept coming back throughout the Bond series. It reappeared in films like Skyfall and No Time to Die, making it a kind of character in its own right. Even as newer, flashier cars tried to steal the spotlight, the Aston Martin DB5 remained the ultimate symbol of class and danger. A car that could drive you to the casino in style and help you escape a villain's lair in one piece. The DB5 also epitomizes the fantasy of being James Bond. Who wouldn't want to be behind the wheel of a car that could shoot enemies, eject henchmen, and still park itself at the valet with perfect grace? These amazing collections of iconic cars from movies and TV shows continue to rev up our imaginations. Whether it's General Lee flying over dirt roads or James Bond calmly firing off some machine guns in his Aston Martin, these vehicles have become more than just props. They're characters in their own right, with as much personality and flair as their human counterparts. From flying through dystopian wastelands with the Interceptor to tearing up the racetrack in the Mach 5, these cars didn't just get us from point A to point B, they took us on unforgettable adventures that we still daydream about today. And as we look back on these iconic vehicles, it's easy to see why they've become embedded in pop culture history. They're not just machines, they're the stuff of legends. So which one would you choose for a spin? KITT's sass, the Interceptor's grit, Or maybe Bond's remarkably cool. No matter what, one thing's for sure. These cars will keep your motor running and your memories racing for years to come. But don't just stop here. Did your favorite iconic car not make the list? Let us know in the comments section. Join the conversation, comment, and tag your fellow car lovers. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss another exciting video like this.